Changemaker Hub, striving to inspire change makers everywhere.
Hi, Angélique. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's so nice to have you here.
Hi, Mona. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm delighted to be here as well.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this conversation.
Same.
I feel like whenever we get together and we start talking, we just love it to continue. So I get to have this time with you. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm delighted to have had the chance to meet you because you're a recent graduate of the Changemaker Innovation Hub's cohort 2. Shout out to cohort 2.
Woo-hoo! Yes, the best cohort.
Don't get me in trouble now. So I had the chance to work with you, to meet you. But for our audience, people that are listening, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Angélique Ndorimana. I'm one of the Changemaker Hub's graduate. I have a background in social work and more recent years did a training in coaching, which has led to my journey into entrepreneurship, where I've wanted to build my own coaching company. I want to work with leaders, particularly emerging leaders, in helping them tap into their own psychological health and safety in order to create psychologically safe environment. That's really what drives me. I think it aligns also. I think it naturally led me to this path on my career journey, where from spending a lot of time in mental health field, supporting different clients, but also doing a lot of training and development in the mental health, the impact of mental health in the workplace has really aligned with this coaching career that I'm now have embarked on, and in what I'm currently doing as well, actively in my other jobs. Yeah.
Amazing. So to even get to know you a little bit more,
Sure.
right? Talk to us about your childhood memories. Like what are you fond of when you think about your childhood memories? What happy moments come to mind, or moment?
Yeah, it's hard to narrow it down to one moment, but as I reflect on your question, I think all I see, or the image I see of Angélique as a child, is an Angélique that's just running around with other kids, maybe climbing trees, but definitely running around all over the place and having fun. Like I like to play. Like I just love play is what I see, and with others. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I think play is something that we can always incorporate in whatever we do.
100%. I just did a personality test or assessment, and it's still confirmed 36 years later. I still love to play. I'd rather be playing than doing anything else.
I love that. Let's embrace play in everything that we do.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel like I know magic happens when you allow yourself to play.
Yeah.
I feel like, at work, we're in rigid roles, like we have to wear different coats and different hats and pretend to be different people.
Yeah.
But when we go back to that child, that playfulness, I think when we create space for that, it allows other people to be playful. It allows us to, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
I want to talk more about your entrepreneurial journey. I know this is fairly new endeavor, and I want to hear, it may not be, I want to hear like how it started for you, like looking back now. When did you know like this is what you wanted to do?
I didn't. Just putting it out there. I didn't know I would become an entrepreneur. And to be honest, I grew up with two parents who were entrepreneurs. My mom still is. But I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. I honestly thought I would have a job and hopefully maybe a 9 to 5 or a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be 9 to 5, but really my vision was I would always work for someone else, right? And have just that some autonomy in what I do and maybe some flexibility in what I do, because I think the thought of being an entrepreneur was maybe scary or not even something I've ever entertained really until I started training and coaching. And and even then when I did that initially it was more a skill. Like I wanted to gain more skills that would help me in my work that I was doing at the time. So it wasn't even at that time. It wasn't even about having an enterprise. But naturally, as things progressed and as you start maybe talking to other fellow coaches, you realize that that's the path. Like, yes, you can work for someone and be a coach and do coaching or incorporate that approach and style, or you can become, or you can have your own business or company doing the work. And so the coaching journey, I would say the training started during the pandemic. I believe it was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, when I started the journey, and it was a few months long. And honestly, until I joined the Changemaker Hub, it was a very slow progression. I think I had learned the skills and I was quite content with that at the beginning. I tried to practice the skill, but I found like I didn't have the business knowledge needed to start the enterprise. So I was good with learning the skill, practicing in the different contexts that I could, but I didn't have the business skills that I needed when I started realizing that, maybe this is a path that I need to take to have my company. I was missing that piece. And so it was a very slow, sometimes frustrating process or journey, because I felt like I didn't really know what I was doing. And I did slowly make connection, tried to talk to other coaches to get some informal kind of advice and information. It still wasn't enough in terms of like really gaining the tools that I needed and the resources that I needed to build the company. It required a different set of knowledge and maybe training or like different sets of connection even to be able to do that. So to be honest, I don't know where I would be today as far as how far I've come with the business if it wasn't for the Changemaker Hub that kind of really propelled some of that acquisition of the business skills that I needed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so where I am right now, since being at the Changemaker Hub and, really benefiting from the programs and knowledge resources that we've received is that I've been able to register my business. I've publicly spoke about my business, so it's out there, which was a big deal for me. I've I feel there's still parts of the business that are not completed yet. But certainly feels less daunting than it was maybe 2 years ago. And certainly has shifted my mindset around entrepreneurship, maybe more openness to it and just, maybe more openness and willingness to acquire that type of knowledge as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say congratulations.
Thank you.
For launching your business. I'm super proud of you. For someone that has been on this journey with you. I'm really happy with the progress that you've made. You're an extremely honest person, right? You're not gonna be like, I launched my business, but I don't know what I'm doing. But you're honest. This is where I'm at. This is where I come from. Yeah. So in terms of even saying yes to the program, right? So when we are launching the course, we always make intention, that we want to attract the right people who will benefit from the program, but also connect with each other and build the community. And it's funny because we make that intention, we get those people. You know what I mean? Those amazing people that become the fabric of, now we can't even envision not knowing you, right? Because you're just so part of it.
Yeah.
So what made you say yes to joining the program and like also saying yes to entrepreneurship, right? Because you're saying like it was there, but you haven't really embarked on it in this way.
Yeah, so I have to say I came across the Changemaker Hub very randomly on LinkedIn, and I didn't even I almost disqualified myself before even applying, and I rethought that and decided to apply anyways, which I'm glad I did. And maybe that also answers your second question: what made me still go for entrepreneurship, knowing how as I mentioned, it was not something I envisioned. I think when it became obvious that this is a possible path, and maybe even the path that made sense with also some of the lifestyles and changes that I wish to implement in my life, it just felt like it was almost like a natural alignment. And also, I think I've always been someone that I tried to push through things despite the fear. So I knew that because I was so fearful about this, very anxious about this, maybe I needed to kind of lean into that and at least give myself, not the many selves, myself, an opportunity, different parts of myself, to explore that possibility. At least if it failed, I won't have any regrets from trying to go there.
I'm glad you didn't disqualify yourself.
Yeah.
And you said yes.
Same.
And you joined.
Same as you said, I don't think I can now not know Changemaker Hub and what it has done for me, and in the community that was built. So
it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I always like to use the quote from Rumi that says, whatever you're seeking is also seeking you.
Yeah.
So you can always like push it aside, but like that random thing that will call you back, will come in front of you.
Yeah.
Like that ad on LinkedIn, whatever.
I agree.
And it will keep coming. Like even if you probably didn't respond to this one, something else would come.
I agree.
But God forbid, you did respond.
I did.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about now on this journey? You said things with entrepreneurship, you're aligned with it, right? You're the lifestyle that you want, what you want to build is aligned with the entrepreneurship vision, right? So what are you excited about in terms of your future, your business?
Honestly, if we're in dreamland right now, or I just envision
that's where it always
starts. Yeah. So, although I didn't dream about entrepreneurship, I have to say that it's only now that it's found me, and now I can maybe dream about it a little bit more. I think I really sometimes let myself dream about being able to work. It just allows me to do something I enjoy, which is helping people, working with people, building relationships with people. Everyone I work with, I feel like I'm building a relationship with, and doing so in a flexible way, in my own way, on my own terms, which I think I've always, as a child, as an adult, I've always operated somewhat on my own terms. And I think I remember as a child when I thought about career path, I just remember very strongly that one thing I always wanted was to be able to travel. Like I always thought about when someone would ask me about what jobs do I want to do, back then it was as long as I can travel. So it was always like airline hostess or international relations. And, you went evolving in terms of what I wanted.
Yeah. Travel came first.
But travel came first. But and then, and I realized now it's not just about a job that will send me on missions and send me on conferences, but rather how much more fun is it that I can do what I want, where I want. And so I think when I dream about my work, I want to do it in that way, while also making an impact, right? So I think if I can do that, and I can do it by reaching different people from in different contexts. And who knows? And I, when I visualize it, it sounds like more of a nomadic kind of structure, but eventually even have like a base somewhere, whether it's in Canada or somewhere else. I'm very interested in I think Africa, where I'm like the continent I'm from, like I think there's a lot of opportunities there too. So even something like that, like going back and growing the company maybe bigger. I have to say I don't always have that larger lens or vision. But it's okay. I think those ideas are there, and I'm the kind of person that likes to flow. This found me. I believe that, the bigger things or the next things will also find me along the way. So I don't know did I answer your
You did.
your question?
You did. And I don't even remember what the question was, but you dropped some gems.
Good.
But honestly, I love that mindset where it's not about chasing, it's about the thing finding you, right? A lot of times we build these big dreams, but then they can become a source of pain too. You know what I mean? Like where we say, oh, I dreamt about this, but I haven't achieved it, right? So although dreams, I'm a big believer of dreaming big, but using them more for, like if I could have it all with no limitation, what would it look like? More like opening up possibilities for us to kind of explore, not to hold us, like not to get attached to them and kind of feel like we have to do it that way.
Correct.
So I love the way you said it, like this thing found me and the next thing will find me and the next thing will flow from there. I love that organic development where it's not predetermined, it happens as we go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit more about Ubaka, your company name, right? The meaning of it. What's your hope and dream for it? I know we're letting it flow, but let's flow. What would flow look like for it right now?
Yeah, so Ubaka means it's in my native language Kirundi. It means to build. When I was trying to think of a name for my company, I wanted something that really spoke and reflected to what I'm trying to do. And the word building kept coming up. Like I want to build people up, and in this case, leaders up, right? I've narrowed it down to building people's, like leaders, psychological safety and building, psychologically safe environments. And then, but from that stems so many other things, building teams, building communication, building healthy relationships within the workplace and things like that. So I feel like the word build was a right fit. And I think just that's been how I carry any really interaction. I think I've always tried to support people in building them up. Like how can I be a support to help you build up whatever it is, whether it's improving your mental health, whether it's improving your housing situation, whether it's improving anything it is, like how can I help you build up? So it made sense. So I would say that that's the history. I chose to have a Kirundi word. I feel like it just reveals, or it also gives a bit of that piece of my background, my heritage,
And tell us your heritage and background.
Yes.
Tell us.
So I am half Russian, half Burundian. My mom would probably like, you don't acknowledge your Russian side as much, but I think I do have a bias. Having grown up in Burundi, I do feel sometimes maybe a bit more connection or things I can relate to more in that sense. And so, yes, so in Kirundi, I thought like something that represents my culture, my background was also important. Even my logo is representative of another piece of my culture. And so that was really important to me. I think as we know now, as I know now through this course, is how branding and marketing is very important, because you are telling a story from your branding, from your logo. And so I wanted my logo and the name of the company to really resonate with people. I do recognize that unless you speak Kirundi, it will not mean anything. But hopefully, once you curious enough to know what it means, or read up on it on my website, once the website is up,
Yes.
Then
Coming soon.
coming soon. I've been saying that for months, but coming soon. I'm hoping that it will resonate with people, right? Because I think people look for ways to connect with any professionals. In this case, like a coach, they would want to connect.
Yeah. I have this insight, like I have this inkling to ask about what is psychological safety, because we hear this a lot, right, in the workplace. And for someone who may not know what's psychological safety and the kind of work that you do with organizations and with leaders, can you give us a little bit of a bit of an insight of what that means and what that looks like?
Yeah, and there are, obviously, I will not give you a very elaborate definitions. There's lots of great authors that has spoken different aspects of it. But I think I'll give you a visual. When we think about psychological safety, especially in the workplace, it's almost like imagining, like a fish net, or like a net, some kind of net, maybe not fish net, a net.
Yes.
And you have someone like either falling down and you're there to catch them. So that's one way. Like we're kind of like, we're saying like we have your back. Safety also means that in the workplace, like people can show up authentically, whether, even when you're struggling or you're not struggling, you can speak up, you can make mistake. So it's that sense of like, I can speak in this space. I can work in, like, we show up to work already sometimes carrying a certain baggage, right? Certain stressors in our personal life. And so the work where we spend a lot of our time and days should be a place where we feel comfortable and should not add to that stressor, right? And we know that workload alone can be stressful enough. Imagine then having stressful interactions, like conflicts in the workplace, or a manager, a leader who's maybe harassing or belittling or undermining or not supportive of your stressors or your condition. So I think psychological safety, in so many words, is like creating that space where you build healthy connections, people feel trust, they feel safe. And it's a work, it's a journey, and it takes effort. And I think oftentimes what happens is we show up in spaces thinking that they're safe, or assuming or hoping that they will be safe, but creating psychological safety takes effort, and it's built through that interpersonal rapport and relationships. And so I think I'll leave it at that. There could be more that could be said, obviously, and expanded on this idea. But
yeah, thank you for that explanation. I think the net really gave me a nice visual to see, like, you will never fall. Like, we're here. Yeah. Like, you have the safety net that's going to catch you. Like, if you're having a bad day, or you don't meet a deadline, or you come to work with not being your best self, that's not where you're not going to be judged. You're going to be accepted. You're going to be
and supported. And you can, to the extent that you're feeling comfortable, you can be yourself. You can share about that experience without fear of reprimand or consequences or reprisal, right? Yeah.
I was reading stats that say most employees leave their jobs not because of the job, but because of bad boss.
Yeah.
And it's far too often to see bad bosses. Like, bad bosses are accepted, what I mean? To some extent, you kind of accept bosses to be hard and to be too firm and things like that. So when someone more human-centered comes along, people, it's like surprise. Oh, wow, I've never had a boss like you. You know what I mean? So how does your work enable more leaders to be able to create psychologically safe environments? Like, what do you do in your trainings, and keep it general? Of course, we just want to get a little bit of a taste of how you support leaders.
Yeah, so I think, and I say it often, like psychological safety starts with you. And that goes for anyone, whether it's leader or not. Like I think in any space you go, you are an active participant in creating that psychological safety. And I think you have to build some kind of courage and strength and vulnerability yourself before you even are ready to receive it from others. And so I think what I'm trying to do, or what I do in any conversation that I have with leaders, is really starts with them. Like, how safe do you feel, or how do you perceive your own impact on your on your employees? How aware are you of yourself and your impact? What mechanism do you use to recognize that? How much do you self-reflect? Because I think oftentimes, leaders or managers or bosses, whatever the title that level, like I think they step into the workplace. I'm going to assume with good intentions, and they're skilled for the role and the responsibilities, but perhaps sometimes they, especially in the workplace, management duties, which are different from leadership, can overstep. Leadership is also about connection and manage and supporting people. So it's beyond the technical and skills that you need, right? It's a different set of skills. And I think oftentimes leaders step into these roles without really maybe fully appreciating that piece of their responsibility, and sometimes maybe not, and once you're in that role, because of the pressure and the demand, you don't often, unless you're actively taking the time to intentionally reflect and or that you naturally care about connection and reflecting and building those connections, that might be at the back burner. And unfortunately, as things continue, the little ruptures in relationships starts building up. You find yourself in a place where it's harder, right? And unfortunately, people seek support then versus really being proactive in equipping themselves, or at least being aware of their own style and what they are hoping to bring to the workplace, to the team that they're going to lead. And so my work really is that, like, helping those who are proactive and those who already are in those roles. That's okay. It's always good to reflect that, some become aware, right? So but proactively really wanting to feel equipped, and from the get-go creating that space of safety and wellness, and prioritizing that, so that it's a healthy environment for everyone.
I love that. I think we could do a whole session, really, like a whole podcast about that, and hopefully we'll come back to it another day, because I feel like that's a topic that needs more focus, more discussion, because like you said, managers or leaders don't come to this role with ill intention, right? They want good for their teams, but a lot of times they don't know how to do it. They themselves don't have support, right? So they don't know, what does it take to create that psychological safety? Can I be safe as a leader? Can I show up? You know what I mean? Is there space for me to be myself authentically?
Exactly.
So I love that you touched on that, and I think more conversations is needed for us to really create true wellness, you know what I mean, at the workplace. But I want to kind of pivot to the entrepreneurial side of things.
Yes.
I want to ask you, like, I know you've just launched, and you have great journey ahead, right? Yes. But so far, what are some of the challenges that you've faced, that you've overcome, and how has your mindset supported you or held you back? As you know, we're big on mindset, and I share my own personal mindset story in our workshop, the Mindset Mastery workshop that we do as first thing when we start. I know the power in mindset. I know also the power it has in supporting you, but also in holding you back. It's like that invisible barrier that you don't even see it's there, right? But you can't really get through until you actually recognize it's there. So in your journey so far, when you think about your entrepreneurship development and growth, how has your mindset helped you or held you back, or both?
Yeah, mindset was definitely not in my favor for this. I think everything was about you can't do this. Who do you think you are to be an entrepreneur? As I said, that was never even far from something I strive to become. So definitely a lot of insecurities, a lot of feeling like inadequacy, to like just feeling unequipped to do this. I think having the conversations once I was part of the group and seeing that I wasn't the only one was helpful, and really being with other entrepreneurs like myself who were navigating those same challenges and still pushing through, and also seeing them advancing was encouraging. If they can do it, I can do it, kind of thing. And I think with your work and the other facilitators, it's really just that idea of like you can do it. You have to dream big. You have to and not letting that fear stop us, and rather pushing through and taking one step at a time, right? And like keep moving forward. So I think that's been my push, is like really to keep going. Like you cannot stop now. Literally, I have to tell that myself regularly. You can't stop now. Yeah. And also like embracing that there are moments of maybe higher advancement, and then maybe some plateau, maybe some high,
Yes.
And I think it makes it a bit difficult too, because it's a part-time it's a part-time enterprise right now. I wonder how things might look like if I kind of like everything else go and focused on it. Maybe I would feel even more confident or more advanced. But certainly I think it was that shifting, like, I can do it. Like others have done it. And I think I try to follow and connect with the fellow like coaches and entrepreneurs. And really that motivates me. And I think it's encouraging to know that, Deva had the same insecurities. They had the same limiting beliefs, and here they are. And thriving and growing their business. So I think it's continue to believing in that.
Thank you for sharing that. I love what you shared about, like, it's not always up, right? There's moments of increase, but then it could follow downtime, right? And recognizing where you're at, the stage you're at, you're not doing this full time, so accepting the limitations that come with it, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the mental health and wellness side of entrepreneurship, right? Because there's a lot of pressure for entrepreneurs to be everything for their business, right? You're the one doing the marketing, you're doing the content, you're doing the business plan, you're wearing different hats, and it's all on you, right? If the business succeeds, we get to see the happy side. But then if a contract fails that you really wanted to win, then that's on you too. That you have to take the responsibility for the wins as well as the losses. So how do you deal with that? And I know you have an advantage because you're a mental health and wellness coach. So what helps you? What tools or tips do you use to help you moving forward and being okay?
Yeah, funny enough, we're not immune. In fact, they say those who teach don't. I try. I try. I find for me, I think I'll go back to what I said earlier about going with the flow. I find that helps me. There are times where I feel pressure, like to get things done in a certain time frame. And I feel that adds stress. So when I notice that pressure is on, I try to go back to accepting things. I think acceptance has been a big maybe stress relief or anxiety relief when it comes to my journey, and just accepting that, if I'm not progressing in a certain area, or if it's taking me a bit more time, or as long as I think I stay focused, as long as I keep going. Like, I think I have to often reflect, is this costing me more to be pursuing this than actually the joy that I get or the growth that I get? For now, I still enjoy it. I feel like it's still something that I want to pursue, because I feel like, one, I learned tremendous amount of skills and knowledge, and I've gained a community. So there's only been gains. Whether my business flourishes or crashes, I've gained so much, right? Yeah. So I think that's how I look at it. Maybe that's a strategy or approach that may slow things down, because I know that some people are more like, I don't want to say that I'm not driven, but maybe people are more driven and very like goal and deadlines oriented, versus I think I've embarked on this journey knowing well that it will take a while, that I have to pace myself to do this. There's no that sense of urgency yet to have to rush things. So I really see it as a learning growth opportunity, no matter what. So that helps me stay as calm as I can, grounded, and still enjoying, I think, because I think if it becomes too pressurized, then it can rob me from the joy of doing this process and the journey, right? Recognizing too that I cannot go on like this for 5 years either. Like, it's been I recognize that, right? At some point,
next level has to kick in.
It has to kick in at some point, eventually, yes. But I think give myself just grace, and recognizing too that, yes, I want this, but there's other factors that are my personal factors, maybe financial factors. There's a lot of things that you have to consider that also are contributing to the pace or the advancement of the enterprise. Yeah.
That's a sustainable way of being an entrepreneur, because we usually just see the driven one that wants to like make $1 million first year, but we see the crash that comes with that too, and the attachment. Oh, I said I was going to make $1 million. What's going on? I'm not good enough. But what you're saying is a sustainable way of being, right? Like bringing in the joy and enjoying the experience and everything that comes with that, not just one goal. You know what I mean? So I think that is a good way of pursuing this journey, not sticking to one outcome, but really taking a holistic view and benefit of the whole process, not just success, Yeah. I love that. I think I'm gonna take that advice.
Yeah, thank you. Glad that it resonated with you.
It did. Yeah. I want to ask you to maybe share some advice that you would give to someone that might be in the same position as you a year ago. They have this idea, maybe they want to start a business, but they're not sure what to do, and they're just in that space of confusion, stuck. And what advice would you give them?
Join Changemaker Hub. Yes. Well, I think it's important to explore those ideas, right? I think it's important to, just like I did with myself, I think I would have done a disservice not trying. Like if I had just let that idea down, right? So I would just say, like, it's better to try something, pursue something, than living with regrets. So I would just really encourage them to explore. Coaching is actually a good way to explore, your goals, whatever that is. And that could be with an idea or career path or, So I would really encourage someone to really, explore their idea. And I actually find that entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship skills are actually wonderful skills to have. Like, I wish it was almost skills that you learn in school,
yeah.
right? Like all that finance aspect, and in this day and age, like marketing and media and all these other tools that can help support us advancing. I just feel like it's a great it's a great experience regardless, like whatever that journey looks like, where you end up with your business or not. Like I feel, having experienced this, I feel like it's an important, it shapes you too. Like I feel like it really shapes you as an individual. If you're someone who likes to learn and grow and challenge yourself, I think it's the space to do that, the opportunity to do that. And I used to, I often thought that, oh, well, but there's so many entrepreneurs. There's no, like, how many more ideas can we have? How many more enterprise can we have? And I think realizing that actually it's endless. Like there's just so many possible. There's always room to be creative. There's always room to have an impact. And so I would just encourage people to really explore and talk to people, at least get to understand what it involves. Like, explore that, discover if that's something that's worth pursuing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think what you said is really key in terms of like entrepreneurship should be taught in schools.
Yeah.
Because it's not just entrepreneurs that benefit from the skills, right? That you can bring that to your workplace. You can bring that to your life. It's the way of life. It's a mindset that can help you in whatever you choose to do. So I love that advice. Just go and explore. See where it takes you. See what comes up. Because I feel like shutting it down causes so much pain and regret. So why not? It doesn't have to be, the biggest company in the world or have to make millions, but let's see what's there. Let's just, let's take the dust off and see what might emerge. Yeah.
And I would add actually another thought that just came as you're speaking. Like it's a gift to the world. Like if you think about all the stuff we're benefiting from today came from people, creating an idea or having a business idea. And so I feel like it's a disservice when people sit on great ideas or, business ideas that could really have a great impact on people's lives and opportunities.
And not to get too philosophical or deep or spiritual, there's a reason why we get these ideas, right? It's meant to do something. It's somehow connected to the difference that we're meant to make in the world. Like, if Steve Jobs never explored the dreams he was having, we wouldn't have Apple. But not that Apple is like, we wouldn't live without Apple, but everything else, lights and you know what I mean? So you're right. It's just that what could be, like exploring what could be, what could happen.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
And to link to your, the spirituality, I'd heard in a sermon about, kind of the idea of that, your dream is God's promise. Basically that's what's meant for you. And if it's meant for you, if you have that thought and that idea, as you said, like pursue that. That's God's promise to you, right?
I love that. I love that. And that brings so much reassurance and comfort. It's takes away the pain. Like if you're dreaming it, you could see it. You could. That's for you.
Yeah.
If you could see it, believe it. It's for you, right? So I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm loving this conversation. I don't want it to end. But I want to ask you, what are you excited about? I know you just launched. Congratulations for launching. I know there's a lot of exciting things ahead.
Yeah.
A lot of first times, which will never happen. It's like you said, you just talked about your business for the first time, and that was amazing. So thinking about next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, when you think about Obaka, what comes to mind? What do you get excited about?
Oh my God. Well, I'm excited about my website. Like I need, once that website
to go
is out
up.
in the world, I think it would feel like I've given birth, to be honest, at this point, because I feel like I've been sitting on this need for the website to come out for so long. So I think that would be a big thing. My hope is really to grow in terms of clients that want to have my services. And that's not just one-on-one coaching, as you know, part of my business is about workshops, facilitation, which I quite enjoy that piece quite a bit. And so, my idea is really to be able to offer more of that. And yeah, I don't have a concrete, but I think if I could do that, like just to really build a client base that can continue to to see a steady grow, I think. And I have some people in my network, one person particularly comes to mind, where it's so fascinating because they're encouraging, they're supporting the entrepreneurship, obviously, and they're telling me how everything really can be an opportunity for business, right? And I think maybe I should have mentioned that earlier and asked me about challenge, but I think that's still something that sometimes is a challenge. Maybe it's like not always seeing opportunities, but I feel like, maybe that's one thing I'll focus on too, like making every opportunity, whether it's even traveling, because I would love Ubaka to be international, right? To have serve people across the globe. And so I have to start seeing every interaction, every connection, every trip, every, meeting as an opportunity to really, connect, but also sell my service, attract people, build partnerships. That's really important. So that's my hope for the next few years, is really embracing that full on entrepreneurship kind of minds or entrepreneurial mindset, and really seek every opportunity, like to really seek it out.
Yeah, I think it will get easier and easier as you do it more, right? You'll feel less salesy and more like conversation. You know what I mean? And like you said, you want people to experience Ubaka. So if you don't talk about it, they won't know.
Yes.
So we have to keep talking about it. I think this has been incredible. I can't wait to have you back. As always, I want to hear what's happening. We're excited to follow your journey and to brag about you and say it all started here. Look at her now. So I'm super proud of the progress that you're making and how intentional you are with your business. So thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions for me, we could do one question or two.
Yeah. So maybe for you, like, it's a 2 question in one. When you look at the Changemaker Hub accomplishment for this year, but even I know we're cohort 2, so you've had 2 cohorts so far. Like, what is, in hindsight, when you look like, knowing what you know now, are there any things you think you would have done differently? And what is, you asked me what's my dream and what's the future, and what is the future for Changemaker Hub, right? Like, so what, in hindsight, what are things you look back and, I could have?
Honestly, like, I think this is the mindset work that I've done, like everything that happens, I believe it happens in the way it was meant to happen, right? But there are always lessons that we can learn from, so the lessons and could I have done things differently? For me, it's two different things, right? I feel like I would not have changed whatever I have done because of that experience, great things has happened. So to be honest, there's not one thing I would change. I think we started the Changemaker Hub with a vision, right? But we weren't sure how it would manifest on reality, on day to day, and on operation side of things. But we always had this intention that we want to offer a program that's meaningful, that's going to make an impact, not just to run a program and say, hey, we finished the 5-month program, but have people resonated with it, have people actually felt like, okay, they've completed something now, right? Not just gone through a program. And have we been responsive to the people? Like whoever comes in, as you know, the cohort is different. They're on different stage of their journey. They have different needs, different backgrounds. But has everyone that come through the door felt like seen and heard and supported? So for us, those were the big things. But how it would manifest and how it would happen and who's delivering what, who's doing what, I think for me that's minor stuff. And I feel like we put in continuous growth and development piece in the work where we ask for feedback, and we also know that we can't do everything on day one. We can't be perfect cohort 1, not even cohort 2, not cohort 3. We're always growing, we're always changing, and we're always taking feedback and adding more layers, more enhancement as we go. So nothing, I wouldn't have done anything differently. I think it's perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect, imperfectly perfect.
Awesome.
Yes. Was there another piece to the question?
It was more do you have
the future?
When you dream big, where do you take Changemaker Hub?
Oh my God. I want like each cohort to have its place forever in our journey. I want us to keep like a snowball effect, keep getting bigger and bigger and more powerful as we roll down. I want to have our own marketplaces, economies where we're all thriving together, right? You're part of the Changemaker Hub. People will find you easily. You're able to make sales. You're able to make revenues. You're able to sustain your business. You have platforms where you could share your stories. This podcast is part of that. We want to keep building more, keep supporting you. Now you finished the incubator. I want to have something else ready for you. So accelerator program that could get you to accelerating your business, right? And then later on, being a leader, supporting now, the new entrepreneurs. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I think there's big pictures like that, but a lot of it's also I'm excited to see what could be because I don't have it. I can't see it, but I'm excited what could come out of this. Yeah.
Awesome. And we can wait either to see.
We'll be surprised together.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. This is happening. Yeah.
It's definitely been a great journey for myself. So I'm very thankful for you and your team for all the support provided.
Same here. I'm grateful to each and every one of you guys. To us, you're like family. So it's not someone coming in and finishing and saying bye.
Yeah.
So we're forever connected, and the spirit, the energy that you bring to the group is amazing. And I love what you do in your business, but I love who you are with us here too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in this week. And if you enjoyed the show, please let us know about it. We love connecting with you all. Goodbye for now.